Hello everyone, welcome to The Old Man and the Read. My name is Jerry. Today I'm going to talk about another of my favorite writers, Larry McMurtry. Larry McMurtry was an American novelist. He was born in 1936 and died in the year 2021. He wrote some really fantastic books. Most of them were about the Old West or books that were set in modern day Texas. But as he wrote some of the best books, I think, that have been written, including some of my favorites. But he won several literary awards, including Pulitzer Prize for Lonesome Dove. And he was an extremely prolific writer. I think he wrote over 30 novels, but I haven't read nearly all of them, but I'll show you the books that I've read. The earliest I have of the books he published is Leaving Cheyenne, published in 1962. And this is a story that follows three friends from teenage on up into old age and death. The story, or the book, is broken into three parts, and each of the parts is told in the first person by one of the three main characters. Part one is told by Gideon Fry when he was a teenager, during the teenage years. Part two is by Molly Taylor, and this is during her middle age period. And part three is by Johnny McLeod. He's in his 60s, and it's about the later period in their lives. But combined, all those three parts tell just very complete stories of all three of their lives and their intermingling love lives. The next book is The Last Picture Show, published in 1966. And this is a coming-of-age story that follows Sonny along with his friend Dwayne. There's a large cast of other characters in the book, including Dwayne's girlfriend, Jacy. But there's no real plot in the story. It just mostly follows or is about their experiences and experiments actually with sex. The story takes place in the 1950s small town in Texas called Thalia, and it's actually the first of a series of Thalia books. The next book I read, published in 1975, is Terms of Endearment. This is one of his better-known books. It's a story of a mother and daughter relationship that includes all of the trials and tribulations that they go through. Aurora is a 50-year-old widow, and her daughter is Emma. But Aurora has a whole string of middle-aged men who she sees, but Emma is married to really kind of a unlikable character. The mother and daughter have a very strong relationship and talk often on the phone between each other, but they also have a lot of arguments. And the book has just a really powerful section in the last 50 pages or so of the book. Next book is probably his best known book, Lonesome Dove, published in 1985. And I consider this one of the best books I've ever read. It's an epic cattle drive from southern Texas on up to Montana, and it goes through mostly unpopulated territory. Most of the Indians have now been driven out of the territory, and there's very few settlers yet there, and most of the buffalo are gone. But the story follows mostly two ex-Texas Rangers, Augustus McRae and Woodrow Call. And then there's a large cast of other characters that are on the cattle drive with them. But McMurtry just really created some of the best characters you're going to read in a book. The story has all kinds of adventures and some violence, but most of it seems to be about friendship and loyalty, and it's really probably one of the best books ever written. The next book is Texasville, published in 1987, and this is a follow-up to Last Picture Show. It takes place about 30 years later. It has most of the same main characters, but they're now all in their 40s. And the little town of Thalia, Texas, is about to celebrate its centennial. The story follows mainly Dwayne Moore. He's now a rich oilman, but he's facing bankruptcy. It's a fairly humorous story, but really not a lot of, or a fairly pointless story. The next book is Streets of Laredo, published in 1993, and this is a follow-up to Lonesome Dove. There were, about 4 books, I think, that were related to that subject. But this takes place 15 years later, and it has some of the same characters in it as Lonesome Dove. But it follows mostly Woodrow Call, and he's now a bounty hunter, but he's started to get a little too old for it. But an outlaw has been robbing trains and killing passengers, and Woodrow Call has been summoned to try to track that man down. The next book is Comanche Moon, published in 1997, and this is another of the Lonesome Dove series, and takes place several years before it, I think about 15 years before. But it's about Augustus McRae and Woodrow Call, who are Texas Rangers, and they're in a party of rangers that are pursuing a Comanche horse thief named Kicking Wolf. The next book I have is Sin Killer, published in 2002, and this is about a family known as the Berry Benders. They're a family of rich English aristocrats, and who they've decided to journey up the Missouri River, and this takes place in the 1830s. Their plan is to see the Wild West, but it's mostly as tourists. They have a large steamer that they take up, a large steamer boat, and it carries everything they will need, including food. It has servants and guides. But their great adventure soon turns into a disaster. And the last book I have by McMurtry is The Last Kind Word Saloon, published in 2014. And this is a story that follows Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday as they wander through the West from Texas to Denver, and then finally to Tombstone. It really has no central plot, but it's basically a collection of vignettes that eventually culminate in the OK Corral. But those are the books I've read by McMurtry, Larry McMurtry. He's an incredibly good writer, wrote some very good books, and I'm going to have to read more of them. As I was going through these, I just was remembering how good the books are. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching the video, and hopefully I'll see you on another. Thanks.